Hello, SVSU fans and all others tuning in. Welcome to another fantastic night of esports. Whether you are in the SVSU Student Life Center or at home watching the stream, whether on the field, on the court, or rocking a keyboard and mouse, SVSU athletes always play their hearts out for the crowd. So thank you for coming on down or tuning in. Tonight, we have round one for our Overwatch team in the playoffs. You can see checking out some stuff on stream here, getting ready. Everyone's prepping for the match. They're getting in the custom game right now. SVSU, this is going up against Augustana College is how I'm going to be attempting to pronounce it. Apologies if I butcher that. Going into this match, Augustana 3-3 in the regular season, SVSU 4-2. Hopefully a very exciting thing. Hopefully an exciting game here. Looks like it will be just a bit figuring out some stuff in chat, about to get ready into the match. We've seen interesting things from our team so far. Of course, you may have noticed if you've been watching the other things from the win-loss, only 6 games were played. Overwatch 2 started a little bit later in the season than the rest of us. They only played 6 matches in the regular season. So instead of being 5-3 or 6-2, they are 3-3 versus 4-2.
That's due to the fact that the game did come out late after the season. It came out 2 weeks after the fact that everything was going on. And fortunately, we got that on our computers as fast as we could, so they could get into the season as fast as they can. And
what I dare say they did well right off the bat, quickly getting a bunch of W's for SVSU. Things to look forward to. If you're new to Overwatch, I give a brief explanation of what it is. You got 5 versus 5. You got 1 tank character, 2 damage characters, and 2 healers. A couple of different objectives. You're either trying to hold an area on the map. As that ticks up, you have to hold that for a certain amount of time, for a certain percent of the match, or you're trying to push a payload across the map. That is usually the 2 different things that are going on. I suppose for the map where you're trying to control area, either both teams are trying to control one area in the middle, or one team is trying to defend the area while the other's trying to attack it. I should be able to see a little bit of everything. For SVSU, tendency towards very brawly characters. So if you're a little more familiar, stuff like Ryan, I'll probably see some Lucio. Kiriko has been doing well, one of the newest agents that just came out in the game. We'll likely see Sombra, Sojourn, things like that.
Popular meta characters coming out in here.
Absolutely. Yep. If it works, why not just use it? See SVSU rocking all monkeys in the chat there for the profile picks versus the Candy Canes getting into the regular season. I'm going to say it. I'm going to die on this hill. Christmas theme things should not start till December 1st. Christmas is already such a big holiday, and December already. See, it has like 5 holidays. December, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
Christmas. It's fine after Thanksgiving for me. As long as Thanksgiving has passed, you are okay to listen to Mariah Carey's "And All I Want for Christmas Is You." You can blast that all you want, but unfortunately, if you do play it beforehand, I can't see us. It won't work out, man.
It's not. It's simply too early. It's simply too early. And then you're already Christmased out. You start like late October putting up Christmas lights, and by December 1st, you're like, I'm already done. Anyway, so now getting into the match should be, despite what we saw, it should be a relatively even match. We have a record of 4 wins, 2 losses. They have 3-3, so pretty even on the record, as well as in game in the ranked ladder. They are equally everyone matched. Is pretty close between Plat and Masters. Exactly.
So these teams should have a decent come out. There's not going to be anything going on too weird. They should all be pretty evenly matched, so it won't be too one-sided for us. So we should be in for an interesting match.
Should be a treat. Looks like right off the bat, SVSU starting kind of with what we were talking about, seeing some popular things. I know Ryan has not been at the very, very tippy top. Ryan has not been getting much play, but if you played Overwatch 1, Ryan was extremely popular, so it's more of a comfort thing. Everyone just knows how to play around that big Ryan shield, knows how to brawl with him, and that's kind of the approach we're taking. On the other side, we see a lot of those newer characters. We see the new Orisa, we see the Sojourn and the Kiriko coming out from Augustana.
Interesting, switch the Junkrat right off the bat.
Interesting. Somewhat of a Junkrat match. You get a lot of these tight quarters, as you can see the Junkrat bombs getting in as Ryan swinging away.
Going pretty deep.
Pushing in here. We got quite an interesting thing. Ryan's doing his job, staying alive, falling with that Orisa. Orisa just simply doesn't really want to die. And well. Ryan does want to swing. They both want to be
Junkrat picks up 2 kills.
Big kill there. Glorious stuff. Pushing in now just a 3 versus 5 for SVSU. Should be a pretty easy cleanup as they, caught on the back foot. Beautiful stuff. So, try and regroup here.
Typically, we do see this kind of fashion coming from SVSU. They love to keep pushing down the teammate regardless of what type of objective is coming up. Just push them back into the spawn. It's kind of action-packed team play that they love.
You don't want to be standing around. If everyone's dead on the other team, you can do whatever objective things you need to do for free. Speaking of free, free kill there for Nemo as a little overextension there from the Reaper. He can keep himself alive, but with his passive, but not that easily.
Augustana is still pushed back inside. They can't do anything right now with the Reaper down.
The skill kind of just resetting. Not actually getting a full 5-person push. They couldn't really commit there. So they're trying here. It looks like Reaper getting back to this second, gonna push. Ult's coming online, got 3 of them pressed into. Popping in initially the Sojourn ult, going to hopefully get some picks here. Very good for picking off characters. 1 shot to the head and Weezer with the clean railgun headshot. SVSU gonna have to back up. Now them pivoting back on the back foot, back towards the middle of the
So took out Junkrat out in the back, pawn out. Same off point.
Line shield getting very low. Rissa pressuring him back. SVSU's gonna have to give up the objective and regroup here while Rissa just no fear getting
Line slam!
Bailing out there.
Here we go, ult comes out.
The Orisa ult investing a whole lot of utility. Here comes the Kiriko ult.
Junkrat ult coming out.
Big one. Nemo takes down another 3-5.
Orisa's left standing on the point. She doesn't do anything to hold off the SVSU onslaught coming on right now.
Just doesn't die quickly, but she does initially, or after a while, go down.
Sojourn's playing pretty deep out there, trying to keep them all back from pressuring them out.
When you have that range, you want to use it. You always want to be pressuring to the best of your ability, staying on those angles, not letting people take rounds for free. You see Orisa. Now,
that spot's pretty bad though, because that Sojourn, you can keep all the enemies out of that one singular doorway.
Investing the Lucio while getting Baptiste, the Baptiste window, damage, amplifying all damage and healing that goes to it for our team. Although we go down to Manus, the Sojourn, Augustana invests their ult. So plenty coming out. Second one of the match for SVSU Sojourn. Exactly what you want to see. Although still kind of down.
Sojourn got to take on Sojourn.
Low on health. Kind of what you want to see, though, kind of bringing it back here. Low health, the other team getting that elimination. Beautiful stuff from Biddy. As I think Augustana's going to be kind of on the back foot. Rissa just chilling out.
Rissa's doing everything she can to stop the point from getting capped.
And as you can see, even though they're fighting on this in a relatively equal situation, the time was still ticking up for Augustana. As long as somebody's on the point, it can't be switch sides. Reaper's trying to come in here just to stall a little bit longer, but should be relatively easy cleanup.
Looks like this is SVSU for round 1.
Solid stuff here. That Ryan versus Orisa matchup, always very interesting. While Orisa might not have the team protection that Ryan does with that massive shield,
she can still stop his. She can also still stop the Reinhardt dash as she has a spear to throw at him and stops him dead in his track from coming onto her team.
Best kind of shock.
Now looking at it, looks like the team comps are not.
Build a new world.
Looking at both the teams, looks like Augustana switching to the Symmetra Reinhardt. That Symmetra might be coming out later due to the fact that Symmetra is only there to get the TP and then usually switched back, but looks like it's staying. Both teams look like they have almost the same team comp, except the difference here is that SVSU is playing with Lucio while Augustana is also playing Lucio. Did he switch that fast?
Sorry, folks, in the Team Live Center, we had a bit of a mix-up with the audio. Should be hearing us now. Everyone on stream.
SVSU with the clean ace right there. Capping the point first. Now let's see what SVSU looks to do with this advantage.
Good start. Always like seeing the Ryan versus Ryan matchup. Honestly, a true classic in the Overwatch tank kind of scene in the community here. Lots of mind games, when to push in, when to swing, when to shield. You can either shield or swing. You have to make that choice. You see them duking it out here. Evo opting a
grudge match
be a
between
little
them.
bit more.
Oh, there's a huge slam looking there.
Gets two, has to push on there. Augustana on the back foot, trying to invest their lamp. The Nemo going down to just a few health. That should be plenty of kills there.
Was saved by the
for the round.
Immortal Field.
Good stuff. Ryan on low health. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. Interesting pick. We saw the turrets there, but didn't see much else happening.
Baptiste. SVSU looking for another clean ace here as they're pushing back Augustana back towards respawn.
Sticking on this Junkrat. Again, there is that little narrow choke point for if they try to push up, but they can't just go high ground. It looks like they're gonna go off to the side.
Symmetra's putting her turrets down right there. Looks like the Augustana chooses to go around. They use the Baptiste ult. Symmetra wall to counter that.
Baptiste lamp as well. Oh, beautiful ult from Junkrat in there. That Tiger getting two right off the bat. Baptiste lamp has to be invested early on, but kills actually coming out from Augustana. I guess kind of got on the flank and got their damage out. Beautiful stuff there. Sin going down. Emo defending the objective. Solid stuff. Time ticking up. Not much left for Augustana to do.
Got one less push left. See if they can't get onto the point. Try and stop anything from going on. 10% left.
Now you have to touch the point within 3 seconds of it taking over, like right before, for it to get the overtime. Looks like they might not be able to as the slam comes in, and that's 5 kills for Saginaw, taking the first map there. Beautiful stuff. Always a delight to see some of these matchups. I'm interested, what is your kind of opinion here on what they were doing with this team comp? You see some very interesting things, especially in the DPS role.
Well, we noticed that for some reason, I don't know why, but SVSU has been favoring the Junkrat over the Sojourn here, as Sojourn has been the most popular and most prevalent pick over in the Overwatch 2 community as of right now due to how much kill potential she has with her headshot. But Junkrat here, he provides a lot more AoE damage for his team and also is able to use his traps to catch out and maybe throw a little blast pack and one-hit one of their healers.
Absolutely very good insight there. It's always fun to see because there are so many DPS characters. You have a lot of flexibility with what you can do there, and I agree, especially with how grouped up competitive is. You might not see this as much if you're playing just by yourself, but when everyone is in a voice comm and is ready and is communicating, everyone is nice and grouped up for Junkrat to just lob mines in there for free. It's a lot of damage out. That was our control point map, where both teams are fighting over one area in the middle. Now, going forward, we will either get a payload or hybrid map. Payload, we talked about moving that objective across the map while one team tries to stop you. In hybrid, having one point where the attackers have to take that objective, that area, while it is defended from the defensive team, and then push a payload for the second half of the map. So I'm not quite sure which one we'll see first, but definitely we'll get to see some fun payload action. Always want to see a CN9. Now, again, we were seeing that Ryan versus Ryan stuff. His ultimate Earth Shatter can be blocked by other Ryan's shields. So there's always a fun little ring around the rosy, little rock, paper, scissors of, hey, am I going to throw my shield? Am I going to bait out your Earth Shatter, try to shield? Always a lot of fun. Something to look forward to is if we see more Ryan versus Ryan and you see on the field there that one of his abilities, the Fire Strike, where he throws out the big
fire cleave.
That is a kind of long animation. So if the other Ryan knows he's going to do that, he can react and Earth Shatter while the other Ryan's throwing out the Fire Strike. Some fun little mind games there. Hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more. See some of the bans coming in here.
Hanamura looks like the ban for them.
Hanamura. Am I crazy, or isn't that not a 2 CP
That is not
map?
that is a 2 CP map. Actually looks like they're banning Pericio. I think that was a mistake that Hanamura banned.
Like there were a subset of maps in Overwatch 1 where you had 2 of the objectives that needed to be captured instead of just 1, and then you had to push the payload, and all of those were taken out. So it looks like, yeah, we'll be going to the hybrid maps here. Hanamura, not in Overwatch 2. Kind of tragic, honestly. 2 CP. I'll say it. Hot take here from the casting booth. 2 CP, kind of the best. I'm gonna say favorite map was Temple of Anubis.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I did not like those 2 CP maps. Because always that second CP usually, on Anubis especially, hardest one to get unless you had a brawly comp.
And you know what? I will say this. I will secede this point. I am pretty neutral on 2 CP as a concept, but the maps specifically were just the best. Temple of Anubis, Hanamura were both absolute classics. You had some not great ones, I'll say, with Horizon Lunar Colony, a fan absolute not favorite there, but from the stream side, we're getting a little bit of flack for
the 2 CP comment.
Getting stared at
from the best
from the esports center. Going on to Kings Row, I guess. Kings Row, honestly, I don't think this is any issue saying this is a fan favorite, maybe the best map that the Overwatch team ever put out. It has all these great strategies. We've seen some of the best plays in Overwatch on this map. There's one specifically from the Overwatch League where you get a Widow on that initial high ground on the attacker side, and he just shooting range down there as the rest of the team mixes up where the other's going. It's an absolute delight.
Looks like we're getting pick side selection going through here real quick.
NA Production Lamau. Looks like having a bit of a scuffle. Like I'm not
trying to decide who is getting what side here.
Interesting stuff. Whoever bans picks the side.
Yes.
Yeah. On just sorting out the things. Of course, this is the first round of playoffs. A lot of these teams will not be playing each other for the first time. In Overwatch 2 being so new, this is all probably pretty new for these players.
Yes.
And again, they had a shorter season to get a hold, get a hang on it. Exactly.
Yep. Didn't have as much time to figure out what they're trying to, exactly the identity and what they wanted to do.
Looks like some funny things. I don't know if I'm necessarily privy. Maybe Winston was Winton.
Yeah, it's a popular meme in the Overwatch community here of Winton.
Now, I have no idea. I've been a part of this since 2017, and I have no idea what they're talking about.
It's recently memes have been coming through. Yep, looks like SVSU decides to take the attacking side here. Or, nope, actually, never mind. They have switched. They have decided to switch with Augustana taking the attacking side. Now, we do know this first control point. Usually, if the attacking team gets past that little bridgeway there and gets onto it, many defensive teams decide to give up that point, as it's just a little too hard to hold on once the enemy gets past all that bus in the statue over there.
Super difficult, again, because there are so many more options to where you can go once you get through there. Kind of going through this map here, as you can see, goes to this choke point. Here's the attacker's route. You can see on the red line, here's the control point they have to take, and when they control it, off on the right, a little cart comes out, and then it starts going down that blue line towards the end of the map. Getting into it here, looks like SVSU is taking a pretty standard position, keeping the Rhine up front, keeping the... going for the May. I love this strategy. Trying to May wall off one person there. So the rest of the team can focus. They break through. Both teams having the May there, trying to wall each other off. Not getting anything successfully out of it, but having to invest a lot to bail out. Both players on both sides. Fire Strikers are coming through, getting a whole bunch of damage. That's going to be a bunch of ult charge for Nemo there as they start going a little bit pushing back now.
Yep. SVSU doing a good job playing around the statue and trying to keep them off that point. As of right now, we can see Mugusa versus Reinhardt. They're in a grudge match right up against each other. Maywall trying to come through. Our Maywall coming through.
Well, that was the flashbang. I thought that was a tracer bomb for a second there. You see, just fighting around, neither team really doing anything.
Alyssa pushes
all, trying to save her out, invest a whole bunch of utility to get her out of there. Kind of tight back here. This is just back and forth, back and forth. Each team just sort of parrying around each other. The Baptiste window comes out, blocked off by the Maywall there. Here comes the lamp for SVSU, trying to give everyone immortality. Looks like it's kind of falling apart on the attack, although, as I say that, there goes everyone chasing down Elspawn on there, getting all of the Augustana players off of the map there. The ult from SVSU, I think there for a second, or maybe that was just the full charge. I might be a little bit mistaken. Now on maps like this, defenders, the respawn is so much further away, so losing a defender is so much worse for the defense team than an attacker losing. One of theirs, the May wall coming out big there. Oh, getting caught out. Unfortunate stuff that made it exactly what you wanted there, but still ended up getting caught out for it. Now going to have to be on the back foot. We do have the fire strikes, but I'm not quite sure if they're going to try to go for it. Biddy doing an absolute spectacular job. Take care of 3 to 4 in for Augustana's favor right now. Oh, that piece. They're the Mayo trying to keep SVSU off point, and they just barely managed to cap it, keeping them off point with that Mayo. If you stay in that Mayo for too long, you get frozen solid for a couple seconds. Solid attack coming out from Augustana. They'll have about 4 minutes, 10 seconds to push this payload across the map. Of course, you can see at the top there, that bar is how far it's made. If they get to that little checkpoint, they get an extra, I think, 2 minutes to make it to the last part.
Unfortunately, you did see there, SVSU was looking to try and go and take that point back, but unfortunately they could not. And unfortunately, that blunder of them thinking about it ended up costing them the point. So unfortunately, it's those split-second thoughts that SVSU is having.
This Overwatch, unlike some other games, is just incredibly fast. You see a lot of slower games coming out in the past couple years, more tactical shooters like Valorant. This is not Valorant. Things happen quickly, tides turn. There's so many factors going around, as you can see. Between immortality fields, shields, projectiles, big explosives. It's a very chaotic game here. Back in Overwatch 1 when there were 6v6 and there were 12 people on the field, it was even worse. This fight is kind of a slugfest, though. Superb finds the opening, killing both, and the Rhine goes down as well. It's going to be 3 to 4, 3 to 3, 3 to 2 in favor of Augustana. Only 2 SVSU members staying live.
BD looks like he gets the pick off of Baptiste here.
Doing a very solid job, getting so much damage.
Sombra is really in the back line there. We can see her going around trying to hack different points. Maybe trying to pick off this Baptiste. Oh no!
Oh, and he doesn't have it.
No!
Oh, that's toxic. That's toxic. I'm ignoring the team fight for filming that.
We do have to remember Sombra is still back there, so she could potentially pull off a huge
have that there. Here comes
Ryan
getting 2. He's gonna go down, but taking 2 with him is still plenty of fight left. The cart's almost there, but they can't push it. The defenders are still on it.
Sombra's still back there.
Going down.
Sombra's still back there. Not again.
Again, you can't do this to him. You can't do this to him. Joe Biden paused. You just can't. I can't believe I had to cast that.
I still can't believe that name is his username.
That's kind of wild. Beautiful stuff from SVSU there. Just waiting for the last second. GMP. Oh my gosh, they're getting tricky.
Oh no. Looking for another.
Hacking out their hack will disable your ability for, I believe, 3 seconds. It got buffed to.
It did. I'm pretty sure it did get nerfed though recently. It's the animation had to come out. It was 1.75, I believe.
When Sombra hacks you, you can't use abilities for 3 seconds. You can be seen through walls by the other team, and you take more damage for, I think, about 5 to 8 seconds. You take extra damage. See here, doing a whole bunch of their health. He will hack you and do a chunk of your health, and the rest of the team simply has to clean up the low targets.
SVSU with the clean ace here. Sombra ult was huge as she did deactivate all of them and also took a huge chunk of HP from all the characters on Augustana.
I believe they lose 40% of their maximum health, which is absolutely brutal. A lot of breakpoints are very important. A lot of ability, just things in general do 120 damage. So if you can get somebody below that, then there are a number of things between a combo body shot, Junkrat mine that will take you down. That'll great for that. But May is great for anti-tanking, walling off the Rhine there. You have to kind of bail him out, and on the back foot now, the Luciol coming out from Augustana, giving overhealth to the whole team, although the damage is still coming out. Ryan fighting for his life on card. Sombra here to give some extra.
Baptiste back there.
Barely almost the Baptiste, the lamp coming out here. You have to invest all 2 to get plenty of healing down and damage. Remo fighting, but he's still alive, gets down the shatter, gets all of them. Beautiful stuff. Sombra doing absolute work, hacking the tanks, making sure the Orissa's mainstay isn't in play, but there comes the Mayo. It's a complete scramble, but they managed to take it. Time ticks down. What a team fight.
I do not think Augustana has enough time to get back to this point. Oh,
There's going to be a
point.
Oh my gosh.
0.1 seconds left on that payload.
Forget the overtime, but it's just not going to do it. Nemo taking out Fancy Socks. Here comes the EMP. It's just to clean up for SVSU at this point. Beautiful stuff there. Let's get this round. Now they will have to switch sides. SVSU will be attacking now. Saw some absolute great stuff. The Sombra play. I know SVSU does like to use Sombra and Sojourn both a lot. We hadn't seen the Sombra up until now, but when you take a especially tanky character like Orisa, whose main job is simply not die, soak up damage, and you make that character take more damage with Sombra's hack, that character is almost nullified. Outside of that, Orisa doesn't do much. She does a decent amount of damage and some crowd control, but if she's not tanking and just staying alive,
doesn't really provide any utility.
Exactly. Well,
we call a truce.
Character like Ryan can provide a shield and stop damage hitting his team. We're going to see the Widow here. I think from Viddy. Viddy's been doing an absolute insane job on the Sojourn, hitting the railgun right clicks. Sojourn, you've seen both teams use quite a bit here. They'll use their primary fire, their little automatic gun, to charge up a big laser. On the side of Augustana, we got the Bastion with the little hat.
We got one.
Bastion's main strength, he has, as you can see, more health than most other characters in the DPS role. He has 300 and has some armor health. Armor health takes a little less damage, or it nullifies some. But he can go into a tank mode where he just has a machine gun that just outputs massive damage. So I wonder what we're going to see, especially in the DPS category. This Widow versus Bastion. Bastion doesn't have the range, but doesn't die as easily. Can't get picked off quite fast. Pushing out really aggressively here. We do see Bastion in his tank form. Viddy getting the kill onto Fancy Socks. That'll be 5-4 in our favor. We have a man advantage, so it's hard to push on when Bastion has his ability up. When it's gone though, now they can push on for kind of free. Orisa trying to keep them at bay. The lamp coming out to keep everybody alive. Lamp is that Baptiste ability. It's on a very long 30-second cooldown, but when it's used, you don't die when you're inside of it. The Widow getting up top here, throwing out the Venomine. Sombra in the backline trying to keep everything going here, getting 2 headshots onto the Orisa. Beautiful stuff, as SVSU will cap this first point.
You see, unfortunately, Augustana was playing very defensively there. That is what you do not want to do. SVSU just had so much room to play with, and unfortunately, Augustana failed to account for this, and unfortunately, the point was capped within a very quick and short time.
And as you can see, just easy cleanup for SVSU. Had kind of the man advantage there as Augustana was coming back from the respawns. Beautiful stuff. Widow using her ultimate, kind of the weakest ult in the game, just to see where everyone is on the map. Augustana now can't really flank or try anything in this in-between phase, as we're pushing, getting some progress on the cart, and they're coming back from respawn. So we know where they are, we know they're not flanking, and Viddy's just trying to get a kill. Sombra getting the information as to where everyone is in stealth form, trying to go for the assassination, and then teleporting out with exactly one health. Beautiful stuff there. Right on cart here. If we win this, we can be able to push it to the end for free here. Because Augustana didn't get all the way to the end, we only have to get it to where they left it off. The shatter coming through. Saving all of them though. Viddy does get the kill, and the rest of them start falling. Viddy's in their backline, pick them up one at a time as Nemo distracts the Orisa, who can't do anything at all. Viddy cleaning up with, I believe that was a 4. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely cleaning up there as finishing up, pushing the payload.
I do not think Augustana could get there in time, unfortunately. Round 2 also goes to SVSU.
Unfortunately, indeed, for Augustana. SVSU doing a great job. We've seen some insane things from Nemo, as always, here with the play of the game, keeping kind of everybody at bay, making sure to control what the other team is doing, but getting a lot of kills. I've seen Nemo in that kill feed so often, as you see with this play, getting multiple there. Putting on the Orisa, doing a lot of things. Viddy cleaning up in the background there. As we said, fan favorite map, and I dare say for a reason. You just, whatever it is about Kings Road facilitates these awesome team fights.
Playmaking potential is insane on this map, as we just seen previously with that Widowmaker coming out for SVSU in round 2. Can pull off some insane headshots right from the start of the game. Start at 1 second starting.
Absolutely. From here, we have seen the hybrid map here. We see our control point at the first, and at this point, we'll probably see the what is it called? Payload map.
From payload.
Here. Maps such as Dorado, Havana, maps
Hollywood.
such as that Hollywood. No, Hollywood is a hybrid. It's got
yes.
At this time, we'll be taking a quick
maps.
break on the casting, just in between these two games here. Stick around. We still got plenty of action going into this. For I have been corrected. There is also the push.
The push game mode, where there is a robot in the center of the map, and both teams fight over control of that robot. And that robot's job is basically to push this little wall all the way, just like a payload, to the enemy's base.
Looks like in the chat, Will I Awesome, the coach is subbing in for Nemo. Not what you see. Our captain Will here, an absolute powerhouse. We're gonna see how this pans out after this break here. We'll be back in just a second. We are live back here, and it looks like Circuit Royale will be our map. We have some interesting news here.
As we can see, the team captain, Will I Awesome, has subbed in to play for the third game of the night. This is his second game playing, as he has been the most awesome coach that the Overwatch team has had, and due to that, he has allowed them to succeed and get that 5-3 record that they were looking at there.
Absolutely. He has been a blessing to have here at the SVSU esports community. He's been doing such a great job. Playing has not been his goal necessarily, but SVSU has been doing a very good job. They've been good matches, but they have been heavily weighed in SVSU's favor, so they feel confident throwing him in so he can get some playtime as well, because he is a player in his own right, not just a coach.
Now, we also see that we have information about certain things going down here, as we might believe Celos may be off-rolling a little bit here, as they are trying to do something a little bit different from what they usually do.
Celos, normally our star Lucio player, he's kind of cracked, goated on the sticks. Gets nasty clips most games here, but might be switching up where he's going a little bit. Will I Awesome subbing in for Nemo the Tank, but I'm not quite sure. I think Will is more of a support character to my knowledge, so might see some switcheroo. I know Celos also playing other roles to an extent. We're getting some information.
Oh,
Celos, bit of a Sigma player.
I do have information about this Circuit Royale, as this map, as you notice, this map does have a bridge as the attacking team is pushing the payload that they do have to go under. And I do know that Sigma players do love to play around this specific corner due to the fact that they have an AoE basic attack, which as it goes through, it will bounce off a wall and it will explode into a little dish of damage. And that's where Sigmas can just place their wall on that corner and just fire away all they want.
Sigma, kind of a departure from the standard like base Overwatch in 2016 when you had a character like Ryan who either shields or does damage. Sigma added a lot later into the game, can throw up his shield and shoot at the same time. Kind of, one might consider it power creep, but it's also very fun to watch, very exciting, and to play very engaging as well. Though Ryan can still absolutely slaughter up close.
Now, we do have to see if they decide who's going where on which side. First, I do believe that Augustana does have the choice to picking which side they want, if they want attacking side or defense side first on this map.
Here you can see the first area there, you can see the cart, kind of the path that it's going to take here as timer is going to start ticking down. The defense is released to come start towards this point. As this is the bridge we just went under that we talked about over on this side, and the first checkpoint here is going to be on this little checkered line. So if they get here, they get a more time to push it further. It'll have to go up the side of this hill, around this around the trees, up to the second checkpoint up in front of this hotel casino, I suppose, and then from here pushed down through the rest of this hotel. As time ticks down, looks like we're going to be going dive comp on the sneaky flank. This is very interesting. You don't see this from defenders terribly often. Oh, never mind. What?
Oh, they are really sneaky here. They are waiting
on defense. They're gonna push up your dive comp very fast. Taking this right off the bat. The Joe Biden kill. Although kill swing out.
Both sides taking trades here. Unfortunately, looking like the dive. Oh, the Reaper goes down. That is a very important factor in this dive comp here, with Winston the only one left alive to back up. Unfortunately, we did not see the Sigma here, as they did go for a dive comp, so they may have missed the opportunity to play around that bridge with that Sigma.
Seeing Sigma on the other side, though, very good at just kind of chilling on card. He can throw his shield out in front of it and let it do its thing. Here we see the Widow as well. A lot of these long sidelines, you can just kind of chill on high ground and take bot shots at our team. Not going to be needed, though, as the front line gets all of the damage onto the Winston. I'm not quite sure. They might just need to change up what they're doing, but sticking with the dive, I'm going to kind of question this here. Dive is aggressive, has a lot of mobility to jump on the back line, but on defense, he's trying to hold the area.
We can see that Celos has switched to the Sigma. Looks like they are going with the playstyle that we previously were talking about. And unfortunately, looking at Augustana, they are playing really well around this map as they have long sight lines going through and allows their characters like Widow and Ashe to get high damage.
You can see the big scramble on the cart there. We saw the Sigma ult invested. Kind of a high energy, kind of impact moment there. Kills coming out from both sides, but Augustana going to be able to get to that first checkpoint as we saw. Gotta push it up this hill. This hill can be an absolute nightmare to get around, as you can see that high ground. The angles there from high ground, very useful in this game to be looking down on your opponent. From a geometry spectator perspective, we see the Sigmas in a little bit of a duel here, trying to push each other around, trying to hit their primary fighters. See the rock coming out, shields dancing around. Very interesting footsies play. Hellspawn getting the kill onto Celos here. As Widow going for a smooth as silk.
Crazy snipe.
We are going to see double sniper from Augustana there, just killing on cart, taking some damage while Sigma takes the space up close, switching over. Kind of scrambled here from SVSU, trying to get their team comp in order. Now we got a lot of range damage here with on the third Sojourn as well as the Zen. Kind of want to see Biddy here with the ult. This is his clutch moment, getting a kill right off the bat. They're trading another one. Coming in here, plenty of damage on the Sigma. His ult runs out, but he's in a nice position to get some damage off. Although Fancy Socks getting the kill, not surviving, but oh, superb with the rock into the ultimate. Kind of cleaning it up.
SVSU getting aced there by Augustana. Augustana is playing their comp very well as they know exactly what they want. They want that Sigma to be up in front, keeping everybody busy while their Ashe and Widow are doing damage from afar, with the Baptiste and Zenyatta also doing that damage all the way. And as this map has long sight lines, it is a really good comp to be running on this map.
You can see playing around this corner now, this is exactly what Sigma does, as we talked about. That's his kind of main strategy, is playing around corner, using his AoE, his little floating orb there. Here comes the ult from Hanzo, kind of cutting off Sigma from the rest of the team as we float onto him. The damage to the orb there takes a bunch of damage, and that's going to be the rest of the kills here coming in. Only one left alive, having to run away. Biddy with the finishing kill onto the Sigma.
As we can see, they have taken the second checkpoint, so the defenders also do get to spawn way closer than originally, and it takes them a little less time to get back from attacking that checkpoint.
Usually that first third of the map is more of attacker-sided, the middle is pretty even, and the last third is defender-sided, so that most games will end somewhere in the middle, and it can be decided from there who is the better team. Hanzo here, very good at taking off, just throwing the arrows in long range, trying to get kills. See Sigma pushing up there all alone, going on. You see trade right off the bat. Sigma all coming in from Celos, getting damage down. Oh, finally finishing off the kill as the rest of them come in. Sigma, absolute nightmare when he has ultimate ability.
Unfortunately, Augustana's Sigma pushed a little too hard to get towards the Zenyatta, leaving his team quite exposed to the rest of SVSU's team. And unfortunately, SVSU capitalized on that, made it well, and aced them to clean up.
You see lots of all these little projectiles flowing in here from SVSU. It's a hard checkpoint to get to when you're on attack. So much damage. And you see the Kiriko wall here amplifying how fast we shoot and how fast our cooldowns come down. Very hard to push into that as well. Will also popping his ult there on Zenyatta so we can barely die. As well, Biddy using the Sojourn, although getting taken down by Fancy Socks there. Not what you want to see. We're going to have to kind of back up here and give Augustana all the space that they want. Sigma getting low, though it shouldn't be in danger of dying. Rock coming out, somewhat stopping what they're doing. So it'll be kind of a neutral thing as the cart gets pushed up past here. Bit of a scramble, lots of damage coming through on both sides, keeping them up. Ooh, the Junkrat kick here as well, trying to just get as much damage as Hanzo all coming through here. I have no idea.
No way Junkrat was able to dodge that, as that was maybe a VFX error. Unfortunately, the hitbox was a little weird on that, and unfortunately, he didn't get tapped by that, and Hanzo ult just used to create space for the Augustana team.
We see lots of space here being taken for Augustana. They have kind of everything that they want. Widow on high ground, but here comes the Ashe behind it. Oh my gosh, the assassination, the headshot there from Fancy Socks. I don't know. This is not looking particularly good. Augustana, not too much time on the clock. But they look like they might be able to cap it here. We do have the Sigma ult to do some damage, and if they do in this team fight, Augustana will be in a rough spot. Sigma going down. It's not what you want to see. No one else contest point, and there goes the card. Augustana taking the first round, switching which side it will be.
We can see that Augustana had a very clear idea of what game plan they wanted to do on this first round, as they chose a very standard comp. SVSU did have an idea at the beginning, but due to the dive comp not working out, they had to scramble and try to put together another comp. And unfortunately, they couldn't get together a team identity as fast and lost the first round.
When you switch your characters, whenever you do damage or heal, you get more of your ultimate ability. You can see that percent, that little circle on the bottom is how much ult you have, ult charge you have. And when you switch, you don't keep all of your ult. So when you have to start off there on one team comp and then switch to another, you lose out on ults. And then the other team will get that before you, and they can snowball that into a round win.
As we can see, SVSU has switched up their comp, as now they are running a similar comp to Augustana ran in the first round of this map, as they are favoring the Widow and Hanzo, as these long sight lines give them a lot of opportunity to get picks and damage off onto the enemy team.
We can see off the bat, the team comps are both going for Augustana and not taking nearly as many risks with the range damage approach. All of their characters do a very solid job at mid to long range battles. They have all of the damage, they have some shielding, so staying on this bridge will be exactly what they want. SVSU also taking an extremely similar approach, only having one difference, the Hanzo instead of the Ashe, who can do a little bit more damage, but has projectiles, so it's a little less accurate at long range. You have to get a little more lucky or have better predictions. As I say that though, here comes the kill, and Biddy getting this nasty angle onto the bridge there, getting damage out, as they'll have to drop down and back up.
Though here is the crazy Sigma spot I was talking about, as they love to play around this, as he can get the most damage out possible. Looks like, unfortunately, Sigma is getting pushed off of that by SVSU's Sigma. They're pushing through this map, making sure he can't get that point steady right there.
Here coming in shields on both sides, just trying to keep the damage at bay, but Viddy finding the hole that he needed to onto Augustana's Widow there. That is kind of always, we talk about the Rhine versus Rhine, but the Widow versus Widow is very similarly always a crazy and enjoyable matchup to watch here. The Hanzo using wall climb to try to get some shots off on above that wall. This is that high ground we talked about though earlier. Augustana was in a position where they killed SVSU before they got to this point, but now when the roles are switched, they have to deal with this high ground. Looks like they're doing all right with it, managed to get the cart up the hill, but it's still, in, for lack of a better word, an uphill battle for this part of this point. Very kind of difficult to get up here, though they're making it work. They not only have the line, but they can work around the payload itself. Plenty of damage coming in here. On both sides, the Sigma orbs getting damage onto everyone on the team, making them back up one at a time. Viddy finding good angle, but it's already made irrelevant by how far SVSU is pushing up.
SVSU clearly pushing up through there as they took it slowly but surely, pushing back the Augustana defense. Sigma ult just comes out here, catches 3. Oh!
Damage plenty. Deaths plenty more, as Augustana just needs to clean up here. The Widow versus Widow. Viddy trying to make it work. Weezer finally getting his shot there. Kind of his revenge. Be a reset on both sides.
SVSU gets to respawn closer as they did take that first checkpoint. Now SVSU is looking to keep the same comp and try and push back up this hill, but due to the high ground, it still is a difficult time to get back to that card.
If you kind of think about it, when you're looking down above, it's easier to see the head of the opponent. It's a bigger proportion of their body, if I can get geometrical for a second. And of course, you take twice as much damage, you get hit in the head. If you're below, your head is kind of, if someone's shooting at you from below, your head is somewhat covered by your body, so it's hard to hit, and that high ground can be very important. It makes it, getting headshots a lot easier.
See the Sigmas duking it out right in front of their team, as both comps want, while the long-range damage dealers are chilling back behind, trying to pick off any out-of-position players that might be out there.
You can see plenty of damage on both sides, but not kills. As I say that though, Joe Biden finding his kill with the Hanzo ultimate, although plenty falling through on, I guess, both sides now, as the ult from Zenyatta not being able to save anyone necessarily, and he has to back up. Maybe not the best time for that ult. We've seen a lot of great ults on both sides, but we haven't seen some Sigma pluses not get any value. We've seen, I don't think we've seen Junkie Tire yet. That Bob, I don't think ended up doing too terribly much for Fancy Sock.
I do believe they have just switched to that Junkrat, so unfortunately we cannot see how well this is going to fare, as it's pretty late into the match, so he might not be able to get the damage off that he's looking for.
I am worried about him being able to arc hit the Junkrat mines up on there. That'll be very precise to consistently hit those. But if he can get behind them and start shooting into their backline. Speaking of backline, here's Vinny with the attempted shot on a Baptiste. They'll have to turn around and pay attention to him. Maybe take some resources away from the front line. Vinny does manage to strike. Oh! Beautiful! Smooth as silk onto the Weezer, and everything will fall apart. Front line
Sigma Flood
crashing from both sides here. 2 kills, they'll have to invest in Zenyatta ult, as the Sigma not ready for that, not ready for his supports to be taken out of the fight for that couple of seconds. Vinny finding the kills, Zippy finding more, as everything falls apart, and they should be able to cap this for free.
Augustana is going to be looking to stop them from capping here, as they do have a time limit to how far the SVSU can get. SVSU just extended their time, but once that timer ticks down to 138, that means SVSU's round is over if they have not pushed that cart to the farthest point that they can.
You see the absolutely squeaky clean kills there from Vinny, which will essentially be an extra team fight. Just all on its own, simply 2 shots is all it needed there. Have to back up. You can see they have to reposition onto this high ground.
We can really see this Junkrat coming into play here, as he's creating a lot of space for his team with his mines, as they do blow back the enemies and knock them off or into different directions, which allows them to capitalize on the players out of position.
I have no idea why they have chosen to fight up here. I suppose they want to get him off the high ground. I have simply never seen that. And as you can see, the payload during that whole part was just pushed up for free. We see it getting back to about the 2/3 mark. SVSU not necessarily winning, but when not being pushed forward, it does start to move back slowly, but
we can see
very slowly.
The Junkrat in the backline there too, as the Sigma was cleaning up the support, ended up getting 2 picks onto the DPS character and the healer of Augustana.
You can see the ult situation looking a little barren on both sides. We have some close ones on Augustana and Baptiste ults for both that window, amplifying your team's damage and healing by 2 for both sides. Plenty of kills can come out from absolutely nowhere. We talked about that damage point, a lot of things to 120, doubled to 240. Most characters have 200 health. That means all of those do instant kills.
SVSU does have to be careful here, as Sigma has his ult just coming out and the rest of their team is almost having their ult come up. Looks like Sigma does use that ult, ends up catching SVSU Celos out, and opens up an opportunity for Augustana to clean up and ace SVSU here.
We see the DPS switch up, going back to that more familiar Sombra that we've been seeing throughout the match, that has been getting a whole bunch of work, especially as a distractor. And Vinny switching over to Genji, very popular character, very difficult, has a lot of skill expression here. We'll see what he and Sombra can do together. They are very good at getting in the backline and tearing things up. He's just waiting, Sombra in invisibility mode, just seeing what they're doing, giving information back to the team. Kill coming out onto Will. Not what you want. You don't want to lose people early in the team fight, because you just have to back up and wait for that person to respawn. The ult here, going for the assassination. All of the damage coming through. Great turnaround from Augustana, reacting to that Sombra in time. Out bombing too much control of the Sigma Flux getting 2, and again the Zenyatta ult here to keep everybody alive. So much damage coming out on both sides. Everybody has to kind of back up here as the damage comes in, and the kills for Augustana as well. Since now want to be only 17 seconds left on the clock, I have no idea if they'll have anybody who can touch the cart in time to trigger the overtime. We do have the Sombra, although we'll have to kind of work around all the damage coming through that choke point, all the projectiles and whatnot. We'll have to come close here just to test the payload. Here comes the monkey, somewhat of the dive comp. Here comes the Sigma Force trying to go for get everybody off the card. And the high noon, I never even noticed that they had a Cassidy. all of the damage coming through. And there goes map 3 to Augustana. And you always want to sub in the players when you're winning. The players who are not starters, you always want to give everybody a shot. So I'm not sure if this is necessarily the time. To be fair, it is playoffs, this is competition. And we did see some pretty solid stuff from Will, but we also now see the loss coming in for SVSU. I wonder, that it does seem to be a change. You never want to see that. I wonder if they'll have to go back to Nemo for this. Again, Will doing a absolute bang-up job. I think for SVSU, what we're going to need is just have him on the mic, keeping everybody together and making sure everything runs smoothly. It did seem a little more of a scramble there for some of those times.
Yep. Will doing an amazing job on that Zenyatta there, though we might see SVSU bringing back Nemo to fill into that position, as they can't take a lax position on Augustana, as Augustana is still made it to playoffs, and they are a top tier team along with SVSU, and they are looking to make advances into this playoff. So you have to play to your top and best performance to take that spot in the next round.
Switching over to the fourth and final type of game, we'll have push. Now, push is kind of similar to payload, except both teams are doing it. They will have a barrier that can be pushed by a robot. And similarly to the payload, the bot will move when the one team has control over it. The bot will walk back and forth on a line, pushing a barrier towards the opponent's spawn. So having control over that is very important. One thing that is of note, whoever seems to get the first win and can push the bot a little distance has a very significant advantage going into the rest of the map. This had to be addressed from Blizzard there, increasing the time limit overall, giving the other team a chance to catch up. But if you think about in terms of team fights, as it tends to happen, there'll be a fight, and about 30 seconds later, 40 seconds later, there'll be another one. So if they push the robot, let's say a quarter of the way there, by the time the other team gets the bot and starts pushing the barrier and trying to make progress on the other side, the other team should be back already to stop them from doing that. So you almost have to win 2 team fights in a row to make any progress on the push maps, which can kind of make it a very snowball heavy affair. However, it does leave a lot of room for those clutch moments. Unlike in necessarily like something like payload, where if the other team pushes it right to the end of the map, it's very hard to stop that team from doing what they want. All they need is one team fight to win. But in this, you do have more of an opportunity, even if the other team pushes their bot all the way across the map. If you get control of it and can keep it on their side of the map, you do have a lot of opportunities for comeback. It can be very exciting.
As you can see, this new map, Colossio, is coming out of here, as this is a new Overwatch 2 map, as this game mode is very new to the Overwatch, as this was created specifically for Overwatch 2. So newer maps tend to play differently. As we know, these teams have shown up late into the season due to Overwatch 2 being released a little later than all the other esports games that are coming out so far, and had less time to figure out this map, but they should put on a spectacular performance as they are doing what they love and playing Overwatch 2.
I saw it in the chat. I saw Anubis was fun. Temple of Anubis was fun. Don't at me. There it is.
Winton's coming back here.
Boom, from Vidi. Boom, here comes Winton. Man, I'm interested. Colossio is quite a map. There's a lot of opportunities for high ground. There's some very interesting flank routes. There's a lot of the map that doesn't end up getting used because it's so far away from the push robot. I wonder if we'll see, we saw the interesting strategy from SVSU, the dive comp on defense, the aggressive offensive team composition. I wonder if we'll see maybe some use of those flank routes coming out here.
We can see this game mode. Dive comps work very well as it's less dependent on payload, and the bot will push itself as long as one is near him, while the rest of the team can dive the enemy team. And this map, there are a lot of tight spots where players tend to group up, especially around that little roundabout way that has to go up onto the bridge on this map, and that's where a lot of players gather, where that dive comp would look to be extremely useful.
I am very interested to see what team comp they will go for. If they don't go for dive, you see, I believe a lot of Sojourn on this map. I'd also imagine some Sombra as well. And from the other team, it's been a mix-up as to what they're going. I've seen the range DPS on that last map, although it is a little map dependent. It seems that they tend to favor maybe the Orisa, maybe the Lucio the Baptiste. Been kind of a shake-up here. It is nice to see lots of things that when you're not at the uppermost level of gameplay, there is a little bit more variety. I dare say this is a very fun level to watch when you can get away with some of these more interesting team compositions.
We could take a wild guess here, as Augustana loves to favor that long-range team fight, as we can say, and I can see them pulling out the Sojourn Widow or the Hanzo Widow or the Ash Widow that they have favored this late last round, and we can see that this will most likely come out, as there are some long-range opportunities here on Coliseum, and while that is the case, SVSU might also pull out the same, but I can see the Sojourn being played very well, as players tend to group up around that bot. Sojourn E will clear them all off of it and make them scatter.
Very true. Very true. I got a rather...
Players are a little... When they have too much time to wait, they do tend to get a little crazy, so...
In a moment. Give me a second, bro.
Players getting a little too antsy to play.
Very... Sorry. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm gonna get in the game here. On to Coliseum. Instead taking kind of a look at the middle of this map here, some of these interesting flank routes. As you can see, very beautiful map here. I have inspired by Italy, if I'm not mistaken. Beautiful things done. You can say whatever you want about Blizzard, but they make absolutely gorgeous maps and settings.
And see the bot here, a little robot just standing in the middle here.
You can see also as well these barriers that the bot will push. The bot will walk very quickly between them and then push them very slowly. So always interesting to see. I don't know what.
And currently we were looking at what the first battlefield will look like. As you can see, it is kind of like a tunnel there, and it has long sight ranges and little corridors for you to hop in and out of that sight range to go through, and it provides awesome playmaking potential for all teams involved.
On the other side of the map, once you get out of that tunnel, there are a lot of bridges and high grounds up on buildings. It can be kind of a slaughter fest, making the middle part pretty equal and the outer parts very difficult to push through if you're pushing the robot. Kind of does a good job of putting everything and working around these issues. See the Ryan versus Ryan here, exactly kind of what you want to see here. Robot won't move for this first 15-20 seconds. If it's unlocked, this will be the first one to start pushing it. As the rest of the team coming up on both sides, you have a lot of range DPS, but also some close range. See the back piece as well. Here comes the damage onto the May, causing ice. And here comes the Ryan shield. He's gonna have to kind of back up a little bit here. See, first kill coming on Nemo. Ryan swing hits Weezer. And they'll be able to start pushing.
Augustana's Reinhardt finds a pin onto our Reinhardt, but pushed a little too deep. Does get the 1-for-1, but then picks up the counter kill for that.
Shooting your own easy. We have the Reaper in the back line, taking out the Baptiste, focusing down onto the soldier. Heals the stuff there, soldier's gonna be low, having to pop out his healing. Does get the kill there. Fancy Socks with a headshot. He's much more of a scramble than we anticipated. The Rhine for Augustana will come back a lot quicker than ours. Well, looks like they'll be pushing the robot back towards us. Made only a little bit of progress there. Not necessarily what we wanted from that, but it is an advantage nonetheless.
You can already see the players using the cover and those little alcoves that I was talking about to dip in and out and try and put on damage onto the opposing team. Robot's kind of stuck in the middle there. As you can see, you can contest this, and it does not move as long as the players are all there from 2 opposing sides.
We see the first ult coming out in the Baptiste window, making it very difficult for SVSU to even poke their head out for fear of getting it taken off. And there, the shatter right into the wall. As we do see Nemo back on it, back on the line, but first shatter not going through, although the other ult's coming through for SVSU, finding 2. Reaper in the back line, plenty of damage coming down. Having to invest Lamp, Lucio running away, and just trying to hop out of there as best as he can.
See, SVSU is slowly pushing the bot, even though you only have 1 person on it. The slow is usually pretty slow, and that's why this gameplay takes a little bit longer, as why they might have extended the time for a lead after the guy wins.
Augustana switching over to the Cassie there. They have the Cassie and Soldier. Lots of damage from that mid-range, mid to long range. Make it very difficult for us to take the round with all the damage coming through if they are not up close. But it will make us favored a little at close range. As I say that, the Cassie grenade taking out the Reaper, I think is 130 damage, and there's auto lock on. I have no idea what they were thinking. Anyway, here when it comes to Reinhardt Fire Strike, you almost have that ult coming back for Nemo, investing the ult to counter the Soldier ult here. The extra damage from the Lucio ult, making sure that it doesn't find too much value, kind of canceling it out there. Do not necessarily have the man advantage or the health advantage, but we do have it pushed up all the way to 54 meters. Halfway, almost halfway.
You can see the SVSU team playing on that bridge like I talked about. It's a little weird wraparound that the bot has to go through, offering a lot of playmaking potential for both teams. SVSU are capitalizing on that fact and going around it.
As you can see, all of the kills coming through there for SVSU, getting the full team wipe, all 5 down before anyone can respawn. Now they get to take up, push a little space for free as the bot kind of goes around the corner. They have to make sure 1 stays on so it can be pushed. It's doing its little check. Has to wait there at the checkpoint for a bit as they continue to make progress. That's going to be the 70 meter mark. I believe it ends at 150.
Yeah, it does end around 150 meters that they have to push through. Cassie ult just coming out and looking for somebody. Could not capitalize on it. Everybody scattered the moment they heard that.
We're finding kills onto both Baptiste and Reaper there. Not what you want to see on the back foot. SVSU is trying to just rotate out there as fast as possible. Pins coming in, getting the kill for Nemo before he goes out, taking down Hellspawn. Will make it a little bit easier for the rest of the team to get away.
SVSU falling back here as they have lost the momentum of the bot pushing and must look to defend against the Augustana attack with the bot.
In terms of all the time, very well. With the 4th one coming in here. Oh, Nemo investing another shatter that didn't get any value. Reaper on this high ground. I didn't even know you could stand up here. Getting lots of damage onto the tanks.
Reaper looking to play around as he does have his ultimate charge, so he could have a huge playmaking potential here as he goes up to the high ground, looking for the opportunity to use that ult to go through the back line of the Augustana attack.
A lot of damage out here. We'll use the ult. The more damage he does, the more he heals himself, although it will get shut down right as he takes out the Cassie trade. 1-for-1 will be 4-4 in this team play right now. Investing, big investment. The Soldier is getting a whole bunch of damage there onto the Lucio. Able to heal up and on the Baptiste. So much pressure onto the Augustana support line there, and they'll have to back up the repercussions as the line has to back up as well. Here comes the Soldier ultimate, stopping the momentum there for Saginaw as we try to move in. So much utility happens to be dropped. Will pay off as they manage to take the team place. We'll actually be able to start getting some progress.
Augustana cleanly acing the SVSU defense, pushing up the bot. Their bot is now slowly but surely pushing towards to try and match the distance that SVSU has gained. SVSU, its entire team is all up. Switching to the Junkrat we see, as that has been a staple for him and has made quite a bit of impact in the past 2 games.
Damage pushing out the tank, a tank melter kind of character. We do have the Nemo ult. Can he find the shatter this time? It hasn't been working for him, but we know he is a huge playmaker. He's an absolute critical part of this team, and And we know he can do it here. Catch the ult coming through here for Augustana, taking a whole bunch of space. You have to move or else you will just get one shot. The shattering from the top ropes getting fused. The soldier and the Reinhardt. The soldier will fall. They'll have to invest lamp to try to save the Rhine. Might not work here. All the kills coming through. Easy cleanup for the rest of the stack. There we go. And there it is, Nemo. Now that's gaming right there. Should be a play of the game.
SVSU taking back control of the bot. Now, the bot does run faster as it is trying to go push back that wall, so the push tends to happen faster until it meets that wall.
It stops the game from slowing down a little bit. And as I say that, Augustana getting back to the fight really quickly, not letting us gain any progress there whatsoever. Got the Junk Tire online in just a second, as well as the Sojourn ultimate. Will probably be popped pretty quickly. We know Viddy likes to use those right off the bat. That's why we've seen him get so many. Going for the stall, the tire doesn't make so much noise when it's on a wall, so you can kind of delay and try to fake out with the other team there a little bit. Does end up getting shot. It only has 100 health, so if it takes too much damage, it will simply get no value there. So they will have to back up and respect, give it the space. It is kind of what we want from that. It doesn't always care.
They're taking the robot.
SVSU doing a good job of distracting them with that tire. Slowed the momentum. SVSU looking right here to just stall out the game as they have pushed it pretty far. They're just looking to keep that distance from Augustana pushing that bot to that same distance.
Shatters right there coming out from both teams, both getting about 3, but the Baptiste Immortality field keeping everybody alive. Going into this part of the team fight, now is when the kills all start dropping, as it kind of becomes a mad scramble there. It looks like it'll pop out in SVSU's favor as they start cleaning everybody up. Viddy doing a fantastic job there, finishing up onto the Lucio. Bob will finally be able to get here and start making some progress again. The Junkrat spam there up. Because they just have so much arc, you can bounce off walls, you can shoot at the enemy without even seeing them. It's a very powerful tool in Junkrat's kit. Geometry.
Looks like Junkrat is looking for a cheeky play. He pushes Cassidy out of position.
Oh, damage coming in. Ryan's gonna try and turn around, and it will catch him out with that spider strike there. Beautiful stuff. Have lots of almost all 5 of them here. Here comes the fire. And it won't be able to get shot down this time. It'll make it all the way to their backline. And here comes the Mercy on 1 health there from the tire as SVSU pushes up here.
SVSU looking to cleanly take this bot all the way to the finish line. Augustana coming out with the defense. As we can see, the Baptiste ult comes out for SVSU. SVSU has that increased damage and looks like they are cleanly acing the Augustana defense here. Looks like the bot will push to the final point.
That will be round 3 for SVSU. Beautiful stuff there. That will be the game for SVSU. Winning round 1 of the playoffs. We saw solid stuff there. Nemo coming back in on the Rhine, getting a whole bunch of damage. We see the GGs in the chat, and we see here it is as he cleans up and ends up being 4 here. Again, beautiful stuff. We saw solid outplays there from both teams. There was a lot of interesting ultimate usage. There was a lot of interesting stuff in general.
Yep. As we can see, SVSU has taken round 1 of playoffs, doing an excellent job. Augustana also put up an excellent matchup for them as the teams were both evenly matched up and everything was going on fairly well. Now, we will be taking a short break to go get a special guest coming in here to come cast and talk a little bit with both Andrew and I. Now, we do see them exiting the lobby and the stream will be closing soon, but stay tuned for this exclusive special guest.
See. And here we got the coach for the Overwatch team, Will I Awesome there. and the substitute Zenyatta on the third map. Now, walk me through these games. What was going on? Start me off round one with the clean sweep onto what was the map?
Lijiang Tower.
Lijiang Tower.
Oh,
No, the very first one.
Beijing Tower, yes.
Beijing Tower. Walk me through that. What was going on?
So throughout the whole season, we knew we were really good with our brawl. Obviously, Nemo is an amazing Reinhardt. Celis is used to be GM on Lucio. Now I believe is currently Masters. So we have a really good brawl comp. So we figured for most of the series, we're just going to run it back on the brawl, and I'll talk about map 3 later. I'll talk about that one. But we really just wanted to run the brawl and run at their team, and we just picked whatever maps we felt were best to do that.
Round 2 was remind me again, that was the King's Row. Obviously a fan favorite and quite a match. Talk to me about the maze. I know, very interesting stuff, trying to wall each other off, and we saw the walls coming out, but not the kills. Both teams doing a very good job there. What is sort of your philosophy with the Mei there? What are you trying to do as well with the tanks there? Who are you trying to capture? How are you trying to do that?
So with the Mei, specifically on King's Row, because the chokes are perfectly sized for Mei walls, what you want to do is you're focusing the tanks there. Basically, you wait for the enemy tank to push through if you're on defense, and then you wall them off, and then you just throw everything at them. Unfortunately, I feel like if they were playing any other tank other than Orisa, who just doesn't die ever if played well, it's kind of hard to kill an Orisa even if they get walled off. But normally the strategy is, because normally you're in a Rhine 1v1 or they're playing the Zarya, you wall off the enemy tank and then you're on down. And if you're on attacking, typically the tank plays in front, so you're trying to get the wall behind the tank cut up. The idea basically is cut off the tank from the rest of the team. It's basically like trying to cut the head off the body. You make the cut, and then you just run them down from there.
Moving on to the third map of the round. Just break it down a little for me how you think that map went as when you came into the gameplay.
So, map 3 is Escort, and recently, and actually looking back at a lot of our recent Escort maps, we just aren't particularly great at Escort. And that's mainly because the map pool prioritizes poke comps or dive comps. Those poke comps being played on Circuit Royale and Junkertown, and then the dive comps playing on pretty much everything else. We could have played Route 66, but we decided we didn't want to. We wanted to try something different in preparation for our opponent next week, try and get a little bit of practice on that. And that was the Winston comp you saw right out of the gate.
That dive comp where you guys tried to sneak around them.
Yeah.
We did see some fun trades coming out there, but ultimately their team ended up prevailing in that team fight.
Yeah, so we decided from there the dive wasn't going to work, so we were going to just switch to the poke comp, and we just played it from there. Now, my team is amazing, but unfortunately, I'm the coach. I don't play a whole lot, and I'm the worst ranked player on the team. Now, rank doesn't exactly correlate to actual skill. There's other factors that go into it, but I'm really good at tank. Yes. I can't aim for the life of me, so having to play that comp where I have to have really good aim.
Yes,
at least for me personally, I had a hard time on the Zenyatas, and there are some cases where my positioning could have been better. But overall, as a team, what was happening there is their team was just a lot better at being able to blow up our Sigma's shield and ultimately our tank. So a lot of the fights, it was just they were able to out DPS us.
And going into the final map, was that your map pick? Was that the others? I know there's some of the newest maps have been pushed. Calcio, the first one added. Is that yours?
That was our map pick, yes.
Yeah.
So funnily enough, the way it works is the winner gets to the winner bans the map, and then the loser picks the map. So we got to pick Caliseo, mainly because that is the best push map for Brawl, in our opinion. And like I said at the very beginning, we picked our maps based on the fact that we want to run Brawl.
Mm-hmm.
So we ran Brawl, ran it back, and we full capped.
Yeah.
So
Was Circuit Royale then their map pick?
yeah, Circuit Royale was their pick.
Which does not favor Brawl quite as much, if I'm
Not at all. Not at all. On Circuit Royale, barring the Joe's meta, you can pretty much only run poke.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Lots of long sight lines there. Unfortunately, losing that one, again, not your style of gameplay. You guys wanted to do the Brawl, but still getting the dub there. I'm interested, what were kind of the big plays? What were some of the big playmakers, especially? What were some of, on the ground floor there when you're kind of in the headset, what were some of those big moments? What were some of the big, yeah, let's go moments that happened?
I mean, so Nemo, as the Reinhardt of the team, he's always a big playmaker, and that's his whole play style. Play the aggressive Reinhardt, and the team supports him. So obviously Nemo is going to be one of our big playmakers. Pretty much has been the entire season, hitting big shatters and just getting